When I called him from Massachusetts General Hospital after my hip replacement surgery, my son told me to find another way home because he was too busy with important business meetings to waste time on hospital pickup duties, never realizing he was dismissing the woman who had spent 38 years as senior trust administrator for Whitmore and Associates Private Wealth Management, whose modest appearance as a recovering patient in a standard hospital gown concealed direct fiduciary authority over $47 million in family trust assets, estate planning coordination for 43 of New England's wealthiest families, and whose helpless elderly mother persona he dismissed during his crucial real estate development meeting, would soon transform into the trust administrator, whose signature authority could either continue funding his luxury lifestyle through monthly distributions or immediately implement asset protection protocols that would freeze every inheritance account, suspend all trust disbursements, and classify his $2.3 million inheritance as under administrative review pending beneficiary conduct evaluation. All because the successful commercial developer who assumed his 73-year-old mother represented an inconvenient burden during his million-dollar property negotiations, never bothered to ask why Boston's most exclusive private banks treated her like visiting royalty, why estate attorneys throughout Massachusetts mysteriously received perfect trust documentation and seamless coordination, and why the wealthiest families in New England somehow always had their inheritance planning and asset protection strategies quietly managed with precision that other wealth management firms struggled to achieve even with teams of specialists and months of coordination. Before we dive into this incredible story of family abandonment meeting fiduciary justice and the trust empire my ungrateful son never knew existed, make sure to hit that like button, drop a comment, telling me about your worst experience with family members who treated you like a burden while benefiting from resources you helped manage, and subscribe so you never miss stories like this one about what happens when adult children assume elderly parents are helpless inconvenience, only to discover just how catastrophically wrong they can be when family disrespect meets trust authority that could transform their inheritance expectations into community charitable donations forever, or protect their financial future based on how they chose to treat the woman whose estate planning innovations would make financial industry news and whose response would become a cautionary tale about respecting elderly relatives, whose true influence over family wealth distribution isn't always visible until your trust accounts disappear overnight, and your financial advisors asking very uncomfortable questions. My name is Margaret Elizabeth Whitmore. I'm 73 years old, and this story begins on September 14, 2024, when I made what seemed like a simple request for my son David to pick me up from Massachusetts General Hospital after my scheduled hip replacement surgery, a routine family support expectation that would reveal my only child's true character and teach him the most expensive lesson about dismissing elderly mothers whose quiet career in private wealth management had been ensuring that New England's most affluent families maintained perfect estate planning, seamless inheritance coordination, and the kind of trust administration that determined whether wealthy beneficiaries received their expected distributions or discovered that family wealth required demonstrating family loyalty and respect for the fiduciary expertise that created their comfortable financial future. To understand how my son, David Michael Whitmore, a 45-year-old commercial real estate developer earning $340,000 annually plus substantial development profits from luxury condominium projects throughout Greater Boston, ended up watching his inheritance accounts disappear through legitimate trust administration protocols within 48 hours of telling his elderly mother to find another way home from major surgery. You need to know who I was before my carefully maintained image, as a simple retiree, helping with grandchildren, concealed the private wealth management expertise and fiduciary authority that had elevated me from entry-level trust clerk in 1986 to senior trust administrator at Whitmore and Associates, a position that required federal oversight, compliance, and system access that determined inheritance distribution for over $12.4 billion in managed family assets throughout Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, Vermont, and Maine. For 38 extraordinary years, I was Margaret Whitmore, dedicated private wealth professional at one of New England's most exclusive trust management firms, starting as a junior administrator when computerized estate planning was revolutionary new technology and advancing through every level of fiduciary responsibility until my retirement in 2023 as senior trust administrator with signature authority over ultra-high net worth family trust, estate distribution protocols, and inheritance coordination systems that most people never understand or appreciate. My career had encompassed every aspect of private wealth management, from basic trust documentation to complex multi-generational estate planning that determined whether families maintained their wealth across decades, whether beneficiaries received appropriate inheritance distribution, and whether family assets achieved the tax optimization and asset protection strategies that distinguished successful wealth preservation from financial mismanagement and inheritance disputes. The scope of my fiduciary responsibilities encompassed managing trust administration for 43 of New England's wealthiest families, coordinating with federal estate tax authorities who required accurate documentation for policy compliance, implementing distribution protocols that balanced beneficiary expectations with asset protection requirements, designing inheritance systems that synchronized trust documentation between family attorneys, federal tax agencies, and private banks, and troubleshooting estate planning complications that could affect everything from individual inheritance distributions to multi-generational wealth preservation strategies that influenced family, financial stability, and estate planning innovation throughout the Northeastern private wealth management community. During my 4 decades of distinguished private banking service, I had personally overseen estate administration for over $47 million in family trust assets, supervised coordination between 56 different private wealth organizations across 6 states, collaborated with federal estate tax officials who required accurate regional data for policy analysis, and manage inheritance distribution protocols during family crises that required immediate coordination between state probate courts, federal tax agencies, and private trust companies to ensure family stability while maintaining asset protection, integrity, and beneficiary privacy protections that balanced inheritance access with estate planning optimization and federal compliance requirements. The transformation that I had witnessed and managed during my career was extraordinary, from manual trust documentation systems in traditional bank vault storage to sophisticated encrypted platforms that could instantly verify beneficiary eligibility, inheritance status, estate compliance, and asset availability across global networks that connected individual family wealth to international private banking systems. I had been personally responsible for training over 127 private wealth professionals in trust administration protocols, federal compliance procedures, and estate planning techniques that required both advanced fiduciary expertise and deep understanding of inheritance law, federal estate regulations, and constitutional privacy protection. My position as senior trust administrator meant that I possessed what was essentially master-level access to the New England Regional Private Wealth Network, the ability to classify inheritance eligibility, coordinate multi-bank estate distribution, implement emergency asset protection protocol, and evaluate beneficiary conduct that could instantly transform someone's inheritance status from guaranteed distribution to comprehensive asset review, requiring extensive family evaluation and federal compliance verification to complete through proper fiduciary channels and documentation process. But perhaps the most significant aspect of my private wealth career was my role in developing and implementing the automated trust administration protocols that determined how inheritance assets flowed between family trusts, federal estate systems, beneficiary verification network, and asset protection coordination. I had personally written distribution specifications that guided inheritance management for dozens of New England's wealthiest families, established coordination procedures between state probate courts and federal estate authorities, and created evaluation protocols that ensured consistent, appropriate asset distribution across generations that served both individual beneficiary needs and family wealth preservation requirements. The private wealth infrastructure that I had helped design and implement served as the model for national trust administration, with estate planning authorities in other regions consulting our protocols for guidance on inheritance management, family coordination, and compliance implementation that balanced beneficiary expectations with asset protection optimization. My expertise had been featured in private banking publications and consulted by trust companies throughout North America who wanted to implement similar estate administration systems, automated protocols that served both individual inheritance needs and multi-generational wealth preservation monitoring requirements. David's comfortable life in his $1.2 million Beacon Hill townhouse, which he considered evidence of his real estate development success and commercial property achievement, was actually supported by the kind of seamless inheritance planning and trust administration that I had been developing and maintaining throughout my entire career. The perfect estate planning that ensured his family maintained excellent financial flexibility, the smooth inheritance distributions that had helped him during his property development startup phase 7 years ago, the comprehensive asset protection that enabled his aggressive investment strategy, and the trust coordination that provided tax optimization for his development profits, all depended on the kind of sophisticated private wealth management and estate administration that required exactly the expertise I had been developing for over 3 decades. David Michael Whitmore had achieved what appeared to be remarkable professional success as founder and principal of Whitmore Development Group, a boutique commercial real estate firm specializing in luxury condominium projects throughout Cambridge, Somerville, and Boston's most desirable neighborhoods. His company had completed 17 successful residential developments over the past 8 years, generating substantial profits and establishing his reputation as a developer who understood the sophisticated tastes and lifestyle expectations of affluent young professionals seeking premium urban living spaces. The financial foundation that enabled David's real estate development success included not only his substantial annual income and development profits, but also the inheritance structure that I had carefully planned and coordinated through my private wealth management expertise. The family trust that had been established to support his business ventures provided quarterly distributions of $125,000, annual performance bonuses based on investment growth, and access to emergency credit facilities that enabled him to pursue aggressive development opportunities without compromising his personal financial security or family lifestyle maintenance. David's development projects reflected sophisticated market analysis and strategic positioning that appealed to Boston's growing population of wealthy young professionals seeking luxury urban living. His signature project, the Cambridge Commons development, featured 18 luxury condominiums with starting prices of $1.8 million and amenities that included private rooftop terraces, state-of-the-art fitness facilities, and concierge services that distinguished his properties from standard residential developments throughout the greater Boston area. The success of Whitmore Development Group had attracted attention from major real estate investment firms and private equity companies seeking partnerships with proven developers who understood luxury residential markets and could deliver consistent returns on substantial investment commitment. David's current project portfolio included 3 active developments worth a combined $47 million, with pre-sales indicating strong market demand and profit margins that could generate between $8 million and $12 million in development fees over the following 18 months. But what made David's professional achievement particularly impressive was his transition from commercial real estate sales to independent development, which required substantial capital investment, sophisticated market knowledge, and business relationships that distinguished successful developers from failed entrepreneurs who underestimated the complexity and financial requirements of luxury residential construction. His success had been supported by strategic family investment and trust coordination that provided both startup capital and ongoing financial stability during the challenging early years of business development. The Beacon Hill townhouse, where David lived with his wife Jennifer and their children, represented both his professional success and his commitment to maintaining the kind of sophisticated lifestyle that distinguished successful developers from those who compromised personal comfort for business advance. The beautifully renovated four-story residence featured original architectural details, modern amenities, and the kind of elegant entertaining spaces that enabled David to host client events and business meetings that supported his continued development success and professional networking throughout Boston's real estate community. Jennifer Whitmore worked as a senior marketing executive at a prestigious Boston advertising agency, earning $1,500 annually, while managing luxury brand campaigns for clients throughout New England. Her professional success contributed to their household income, while supporting David's business development through her expertise in marketing strategy and brand positioning that proved valuable for promoting luxury residential developments to affluent buyers seeking premium urban living experiences. Their children, Thomas, age 12, and Elizabeth, attended Boston's most exclusive private school, where annual tuition exceeded $35,000 per child and educational opportunities included international exchange programs, advanced STEM curricula, and college preparation that positioned students for admission to the nation's most prestigious university. The family's investment in education reflected their commitment to maintaining the kind of generational success and professional achievement that distinguished established Boston families from those with temporary wealth or limited long-term financial planning. The lifestyle that David and Jennifer had achieved through their combined professional success included membership at the prestigious Commonwealth Club, regular vacations to exclusive destinations throughout Europe and the Caribbean, and social connections with Boston's most influential business leaders and cultural figures. Their entertaining activities included hosting sophisticated dinner parties for real estate investors, attending charity fundraisers that supported Boston's major cultural institutions, and maintaining professional relationships that created opportunities for business development and family advancement. The financial planning that supported their comfortable lifestyle included comprehensive investment portfolios, retirement planning that ensured long-term financial security, and estate planning coordination that would protect their children's educational opportunities and inheritance expectations. The trust administration and wealth management that I had been providing through my professional expertise created the foundation for their financial stability and enabled David's aggressive business development strategies without compromising family security or lifestyle maintenance. September 14th had begun as what appeared to be a routine coordination of family medical support and business obligations that should have been easily managed through basic family consideration and elderly care responsibility. My hip replacement surgery at Massachusetts General Hospital had been scheduled for several weeks, with discharge planning that included confirmed family transportation arrangements and post-operative support that represented standard medical protocol and basic family obligation, rather than unusual burden or exceptional demand on family members. The surgical procedure had been performed by Dr. Catherine Morrison, one of Boston's most respected orthopedic surgeons, whose expertise in hip replacement surgery had attracted patients from throughout New England, seeking the highest quality medical care and optimal recovery outcome. The operation had proceeded perfectly, with no complications or unexpected difficulties that might have required extended hospitalization or complex recovery procedures that could affect discharge timing or transportation arrangements. Dr. Morrison's post-operative instructions included standard limitations on driving, walking, and independent mobility during the initial recovery period, which meant that family transportation and support were essential medical requirements rather than optional convenience or personal preference. The discharge planning that hospital social workers had coordinated included verification of family support arrangements and transportation coordination that ensured patient safety and appropriate medical supervision during the critical first. David had confirmed our pickup arrangements during my preoperative consultation 2 weeks earlier, expressing understanding of the timing requirements and transportation responsibilities that represented basic family obligation and medical necessity. His acknowledgement of the September 14th discharge schedule had been documented in hospital records and included in my discharge planning coordination, creating legitimate expectations for family support and medical transportation assistance. The investor meeting that David was attending on September 14th represented what he described as the most significant business opportunity of his development career, a potential partnership with Meridian Capital Group, a private equity firm specializing in luxury residential developments throughout major East Coast metropolitan areas. The meeting had been scheduled for months and included presentations by 6 different development firms competing for a $47 million investment partnership that could transform the winning developer's business scale and market positioning. Meridian Capital Group managed over $2.3 billion in real estate investments and had developed a reputation for identifying exceptional developers and providing capital support that enabled rapid business expansion and market leadership. Their investment criteria required demonstrated expertise in luxury residential development, proven track records of successful project completion, and strategic vision that could generate superior returns on substantial capital investments, while maintaining the highest standards of construction quality and buyer satisfaction. The presentation that David had prepared for Meridian included detailed analysis of his development portfolio, financial projections for proposed projects, and strategic planning that demonstrated his capability to manage larger-scale developments and generate consistent returns on increased investment capital. The potential partnership could provide access to projects worth between $150 million and $300 million over the following 3 years, establishing Whitmore Development Group as one of Boston's premier luxury residential developers. But what made the September 14th timing particularly challenging was David's assumption that family medical support represented optional convenience rather than essential obligation, and his calculation that business opportunities should take precedence over elderly care responsibilities and post-surgical family support. The investor presentation that he prioritized over hospital pickup duties reflected character priorities and family values that would determine his continued access to inheritance distributions and trust coordination benefits. When I called David at 2:47 p.m. from my Massachusetts General Hospital discharge room to confirm our arranged pickup time and coordinate transportation procedures, his immediate response revealed the systematic nature of his approach to family obligation management and his professional prioritization of business advancement over elderly medical support. "Mom, honestly, I can't leave this meeting right now," he announced with obvious frustration, but clear determination to maintain his investor presentation schedule. "This Meridian partnership could be worth millions for my development business, and I can't just walk out during the final presentation phase to handle hospital pickup duty." The phrase hospital pickup duties revealed David's fundamental misunderstanding of family medical support and his characterization of post-surgical transportation assistance as optional service rather than essential family obligation and medical necessity. His dismissive language demonstrated complete disregard for the vulnerability and medical requirements that distinguished post-operative patient care from routine transportation convenience or personal accommodation requirements. "You'll need to find another way home, call a taxi or rideshare or something," David continued with the kind of casual dismissal that reflected months of strategic planning about family relationship management and elderly obligation minimization. "I know it's inconvenient, but this investor meeting represents years of business development work, and I can't compromise our presentation for transportation issues that can be solved through alternative arrangements and independent problem solving." The systematic nature of David's dismissal became apparent through his confident assumption that elderly relatives should accommodate business priorities through alternative arrangements and independent problem solving, that prioritized professional advancement over family loyalty and medical support responsibility. His comfortable delegation of post-surgical transportation to commercial services reflected character calculations that treated family obligations as optional inconvenience, interfering with business networking and professional development opportunities. The conversation that continued revealed David's complete commitment to prioritizing the Meridian Capital Partnership over family medical support and his systematic approach to elderly relationship management that treated my post-surgical needs as complications requiring independent resolution rather than family obligations deserve priority consideration and immediate attention. The confident language that he used demonstrated months of strategic thinking about family responsibility optimization and business development advancement that justified dismissing elderly medical needs during critical investor presentation. This partnership with Meridian could transform our entire business trajectory and establish Whitmore Development as Boston's premier luxury developer, David explained while reviewing his presentation materials and coordinating with other developers competing for the same investment opportunity. The financial projections show potential returns that could exceed anything we've achieved during our 8 years of independent development, and I can't compromise that opportunity for transportation logistics that don't require family involvement or specialized medical coordination. Business development language that David employed revealed his systematic approach to family relationship management and his professional calculation that elderly relatives should accommodate investment opportunities through independent medical coordination and commercial transportation arrangements. The comfortable assumption that post-surgical transportation represented logistics rather than family medical responsibility demonstrated character priorities that distinguished business advancement from traditional family values and elderly care obligations. But what Dave completely failed to understand was that his systematic dismissal of family medical support and his professional prioritization of investor meetings over elderly care responsibilities had created comprehensive documentation of his character priorities and family loyalty that would determine his continued eligibility for inheritance distributions and trust coordination benefits. The confident decision to abandon his elderly mother during post-surgical vulnerability while pursuing million-dollar business partnerships would become the foundation for implementing fiduciary consequences could transform his inheritance expectations into charitable asset redistribution and community benefit coordination. The 38 years of private wealth management expertise that had created David's comfortable financial foundation included comprehensive beneficiary evaluation protocols, family loyalty assessment procedures that distinguished deserving inheritance recipients from those whose character demonstrated systematic disregard for elderly relatives and traditional family responsibility. The trust administration authority that I had been developing throughout my professional career included specific provisions for beneficiary conduct, review, and inheritance distribution modification based on documented evidence of family loyalty and elderly risk. As I sat alone in my Massachusetts General Hospital discharge room at 4:15 p.m., waiting for a rideshare driver while recovering from major surgery and processing the devastating reality of my son's systematic abandonment during medical vulnerability, I had time to reflect on the inheritance that David considered guaranteed future wealth and the trust administration protocols that could either continue supporting his comfortable lifestyle or redirect those assets to serve charitable organizations that understood the value of elderly wisdom and family loyalty. The irony of being abandoned during medical recovery by the family member whose inheritance expectations depended entirely on the estate planning expertise and fiduciary coordination that I had been developing and protecting throughout my professional lifetime was not lost on me.
The systematic dismissal that I had experienced during post-surgical vulnerability represented exactly the kind of character evidence that justified implementing comprehensive trust protection protocols and inheritance review procedures that could transform expected distributions into community benefit coordination and charitable asset redistribution. The comfortable assumptions that David maintained about automatic inheritance distributions and guaranteed trust assets reflected his complete ignorance of the family loyalty requirements and beneficiary conduct evaluations that distinguish inherited wealth from charitable community service and asset protection implementation. The confident decision to prioritize investor meetings over elderly medical support would become the documented foundation for consequences that revealed the true relationship between family respect and financial privilege, between traditional values and inherited wealth, and between the elderly relatives whose expertise created inheritance opportunities and the family members whose character determined whether those opportunities continued or were redirected to serve more deserving recipients. The rideshare driver who eventually arrived at Massachusetts General Hospital to transport me home was a kind elderly gentleman named Robert, who expressed genuine concern about my post-surgical condition and provided the careful assistance and respectful support that my own son had refused to offer during my medical vulnerability. The contrast between Robert's compassionate stranger care and David's systematic family abandonment provided additional evidence of character priorities that would influence inheritance distribution decisions and trust administration.
Sometimes the most expensive mistake you can make is assuming that inheritance distributions are automatic entitlements that continue regardless of how elderly relatives are treated during medical emergencies and family support needs. The business meeting that David prioritized over family medical assistance would become the documented evidence of character priorities that justified redirecting inheritance assets and trust distributions to serve charitable organizations that understood the value of both financial resources and the elderly relatives whose expertise and family loyalty created opportunities for meaningful community contribution and lasting family legacy development. What my family never understood during all those years of treating me like a simple retiree who needed assistance with modern technology and financial planning was that their comfortable assumption about my limited capabilities revealed their complete ignorance of the private wealth empire I had built throughout the New England financial community, an empire that operated so seamlessly and efficiently that its very invisibility had become its greatest strength and my family's most dangerous vulnerability. The modest Cambridge home where I had lived for 32 years, which David and Jennifer considered evidence of my limited financial success and outdated lifestyle choices, actually served as the primary coordination center for the New England Regional Trust Administration network, equipped with secured communication systems, encrypted internet connection, and fiduciary infrastructure that maintained 24/7 connectivity with private banks throughout 6 northeastern states and enabled immediate response to estate emergencies that could affect billions of dollars in family wealth and trust distribution activities. My home office, which appeared to casual visitors as a simple retirement workspace with basic computer equipment and traditional furniture, contained sophisticated database systems and banking hardware that provided direct access to the primary servers at Whitmore & Associates, backup communication protocols for emergency trust coordination, and secure connections to federal estate databases that required the highest levels of security clearance and professional authentication to access and maintain throughout the private wealth management community. The technology setup that I had installed throughout my home represented over $340,000 in specialized equipment and software licensing that enabled me to coordinate trust distribution activities, respond to estate emergency, and maintain the fiduciary infrastructure that supported dozens of New England's wealthiest families throughout Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, Vermont, and the multiple high-resolution monitors that lined my office walls displayed real-time status information from trust databases across 6 states, automated alert systems that notified me of distribution errors or compliance issues requiring immediate attention, and coordination interfaces that allowed me to communicate with private wealth professionals, federal estate officials, and trust administrators throughout the New England region. But beyond the physical infrastructure that supported my trust coordination responsibility, what made my home-based operations particularly powerful was the comprehensive network of professional relationships and federal coordination protocols that I had developed throughout my 38-year career in private wealth administration and estate management. The daily phone calls that my family occasionally overheard weren't social conversations with retired colleagues. They were strategic consultations with federal estate administrators, crisis coordination with state trust officials, and technical support for private banks that processed millions of dollars in daily inheritance distribution throughout the northeastern United States. The Whitmore Institute for Private Wealth Excellence, which I had established during the final years of my career at Whitmore & Associates, had become the most respected trust administration training program in the northeastern United States, providing advanced education for estate coordinators, federal compliance officials, and private wealth professionals who needed expertise in multi-state trust integration, fiduciary protocol implementation, and crisis response coordination that maintained family stability during asset emergencies and distribution complications. Our institute accepted only 8 participants annually through an application process, more competitive than federal administrative positions, requiring extensive experience in trust administration, estate planning coordination, or private wealth management, before candidates qualified for consideration. The program fee of $85,000 reflected both the specialized nature of our training and the career advancement opportunities that graduation provided for fiduciary professionals seeking leadership positions in federal estate agencies, state trust administration, or private wealth organization. The waiting list for admission to the Whitmore Institute extended over 7 years, with applications from senior administrative professionals at major private banks, federal estate officials seeking advanced trust management training, and state administrators responsible for inheritance coordination and estate planning oversight throughout multiple northeastern states. We regularly declined applications from Fortune 500 corporate executives who lacked the specialized knowledge of trust systems and federal estate regulations that distinguished our program from general financial education and basic wealth management training. What made our program unique wasn't just the administrative training quality, it was the federal coordination experience and professional networking opportunities that came with graduation from the most respected fiduciary education program in Northeastern private wealth administration. Whitmore Institute graduates received automatic consideration for federal estate positions that never advertised openings, gained access to our network of trust professionals and federal wealth officials, and could leverage our consultation services to build careers in estate planning that would be impossible to achieve through traditional financial education and standard private banking advance. The advanced curriculum that we provided included hands-on training in federal trust integration protocols, emergency response coordination during estate crises, multi-state inheritance coordination, family wealth database management, and compliance implementation that protected beneficiary privacy while maintaining asset access and federal estate monitoring capability. Our graduates managed trust databases for federal estate agencies, coordinated private wealth operations for major metropolitan areas, and supervised distribution operations for family offices that handled billions of dollars in annual inheritance assets. But perhaps the most significant aspect of the Whitmore Institute was our role in developing and implementing the next generation of trust administration protocols that would determine how family wealth was managed, secured, and coordinated between private fiduciary organizations and federal estate databases. The graduates from our program were leading administrative innovation at organizations like Northern Trust, State Street, and Fidelity Trust, implementing compliance protocols for federal estate agents and coordinating distribution management for state inheritance systems throughout the northeastern United States. The professional relationships that had developed through our institute included direct connections with senior executives at every major private bank, federal estate officials responsible for national inheritance coordination, and administrative professionals who managed trust systems for state governments, county probate offices, and municipal estate development departments throughout New England and the broader northeastern state. These relationships represented decades of professional collaboration and mutual respect that created opportunities for strategic coordination and immediate response capabilities that most fiduciary professionals could never access or afford. My daily routine, which my family observed during their infrequent visits and considered evidence of simple retirement activities and limited social engagement, actually included coordinating trust distribution operations that affected supervising emergency response protocols for distribution failures that could disrupt family wealth throughout multiple states, and providing administrative consultation for federal estate officials who relied on accurate northeastern regional data for national policy analysis and trust allocation development. The morning schedule that began each day at 4:45 a.m. included reviewing overnight system alerts from trust databases across 6 northeastern states, analyzing automated error reports that identified potential compliance issues or distribution integrity problems requiring immediate attention, coordinating with federal estate databases that synchronized with our regional systems during off-peak hours, and implementing system updates that maintained compliance protocols and improved database performance for millions of inheritance records and trust transactions. The afternoon coordination activities included supervising distribution integration between county probate offices and private banks, troubleshooting system errors that affected asset allocation, visibility, and inheritance application process, coordinating with federal estate officials who needed accurate regional data for policy analysis and trust development, and managing crisis response protocols during natural disasters that required immediate coordination between multiple state agencies and private wealth organizations. The evening consultation work included providing administrative guidance for fiduciary professionals who encountered distribution errors or system integration problems, coordinating with international private banks that implemented our protocols for estate management systems in other countries, and conducting strategic planning with federal estate officials who relied on our expertise for national database modernization and compliance enhancement initiatives. But beyond the administrative coordination responsibilities that occupied most of my daily schedule, what made my private wealth expertise particularly valuable was my comprehensive understanding of how trust systems affected individual families and communities throughout the northeastern United States. Every family that received timely inheritance distribution, every private bank that operated efficiently, every estate donation that reached appropriate recipients, and every emergency response that coordinated effectively represented the successful implementation of systems and protocols that I had spent decades developing, refining, and maintaining. The Whitmore and Associates organization, where I had spent my entire career, wasn't just a regional trust contractor, it was the exclusive provider of coordination services for the Federal Estate Administration's New England Regional Integration Network, coordinating family wealth for over 400 municipal jurisdictions, 67 major metropolitan trust areas, and managing distribution integration with 403 different county probate offices across 6 northeastern states. Our systems processed over $8.7 billion in annual trust transactions, coordinated inheritance distribution for over 890 different family offices and estate organizations, and maintained the infrastructure that enabled platforms like Northern Trust, local private bank, and family wealth centers to provide effective asset management and inheritance distribution for thousands of Northeastern families. The scope of our distribution management operations required coordination with the Internal Revenue Service for estate tax compliance and audit support, the Department of Treasury for Federal Inheritance Program integration, the Federal Reserve for Trust Distribution Verification, the Social Security Administration for Estate Coordination Integration, and the Department of Homeland Security for Inheritance Allocation Verification and Security Monitoring that supported both individual privacy protection and national security requirements. My security clearance level required annual background investigations, financial audits, psychological evaluations, and professional competency assessments that ensured only the most qualified and trustworthy fiduciary professionals maintained access to systems that could affect national inheritance programs, regional family stability, and federal estate policy development. The clearance process included polygraph examinations, extensive interviews with professional colleagues and federal officials, and continuous monitoring that verified my continued reliability and commitment to maintaining the highest standards of professional integrity and system security. The administrative innovations that I had developed during my career included automated integration protocols that synchronized trust data between county probate databases and federal estate systems, compliance algorithms that protected beneficiary privacy while maintaining inheritance accessibility, error detection systems that identified distribution irregularities before they affected family assets, and crisis response protocols that maintained system stability during equipment failures or cybersecurity incidents that could affect millions of inheritance records and billions of dollars in trust activity. These innovations had been adopted by private banks throughout North America, implemented by federal estate agencies for national database modernization, and licensed to international fiduciary firms that wanted to implement similar integration systems and compliance protocols for estate management in European Union countries, Canada, Mexico, and Pacific Rim nations seeking to modernize their trust systems and improve distribution, coordination between government agencies and private wealth organizations. The consulting contracts that I had negotiated with federal estate agencies included ongoing administrative support for database modernization projects, emergency response coordination during system failures that affected multiple states, compliance assessment and enhancement for federal trust databases, and strategic planning for next-generation fiduciary technology that would improve system integration and reduce distribution management costs while maintaining accuracy and security standards that protected both individual beneficiary privacy and federal estate monitoring capability. But perhaps the most significant aspect of my trust administration authority was my role in determining which assets received priority processing and optimal distribution visibility throughout the New England Regional Wealth Network. The integration protocols that I had designed included automated quality assessment algorithms that evaluated trust assets for appropriateness and completeness, determined distribution positioning based on family need and verification state, and implemented enhanced allocation protocols for assets that met the highest standards for inheritance impact and beneficiary benefit. This meant that assets associated with my family members had always received the most favorable trust treatment possible, priority processing for inheritance coordination, enhanced distribution, visibility that attracted maximum family benefit, expedited estate application coordination that reduced approval timeframes, and automated compliance verification that prevented administrative problems from affecting their wealth access or trust status. The seamless private banking experiences that David and Jennifer had always enjoyed were natural consequences of living in affluent neighborhoods or working with premium financial organizations,
they were the direct result of trust preferences and administrative advantages that I had been providing through my coordination authority and system access. David's comfortable life in his $1.2 million Beacon Hill townhouse had benefited from perfect estate services coordination, seamless inheritance distribution processing, and enhanced asset allocation that attracted maximum family support because I had personally implemented distribution protocols that ensured optimal trust visibility and inheritance accuracy. The smooth estate approval processes that had helped them during their business startup phase 7 years ago had benefited from expedited verification and automated compliance checking that reduced approval timeframes and prevented common administrative delays that affected most inheritance applications. The comprehensive financial services that enabled their comfortable lifestyle reflected distribution coordination that I had maintained between county probate systems and state trust databases, preventing the service gaps and administrative complications that could have significantly affected their access to family wealth and estate support. The excellent private banking that supported their children's education, the investment programs that provided portfolio growth, and the trust infrastructure that supported their property values all depended on inheritance coordination and asset management that required exactly the kind of administrative expertise and federal coordination that I had been providing throughout my entire career. Jennifer's career advancement at her prestigious Boston advertising agency had been enhanced by the perfect financial infrastructure and credit coordination that I had maintained throughout Boston's private banking network, ensuring that her professional development was supported by seamless estate backing and credit facilities that provided the financial stability necessary for career advancement and family lifestyle maintenance. The flawless administrative experiences that had enabled her professional success reflected database management and coordination protocols that required exactly the airtaris I had been developing for over 3 decades. David's success with Whitmore Development Group and his ability to pursue aggressive real estate investments, despite substantial financial risks, had been supported by the comprehensive inheritance backing and estate coordination that I had been managing through Massachusetts's private wealth infrastructure. The emergency credit facilities that had helped them secure their Beacon Hill townhouse, the trust programs that supported their children's private education, and the estate services that maintained their investment portfolios all depended on inheritance coordination and asset management that I had been providing without their knowledge or appreciation. But the most ironic aspect of their comfortable assumptions about my limited administrative capabilities was that Jennifer's own success in advertising luxury brands relied on wealth management principles and asset coordination techniques that I had pioneered in private banking administration and had been teaching to estate planning professionals for over 2 decades. The seamless financial experiences that she marketed to luxury consumers used coordination protocols and trust integration design principles that I had developed for private banks and had shared through professional conferences and administrative training programs throughout New England. Sophisticated lifestyle that David and Jennifer had achieved through his real estate development success and her advertising career was entirely dependent on the kind of financial infrastructure and trust coordination that I had been developing and maintaining throughout the private wealth industry. Their beautiful townhouse served as David's primary business address because its perfect financial services and accurate estate coordination provided the stability and community validation that sophisticated investors required for premium development partnerships, but that financial excellence existed only because of the trust coordination and administrative management that I had been providing without their knowledge or appreciation. The September 14th investor meeting, where I had been told to find another way home from the hospital, represented the most devastating miscalculation of their lives about the relationship between family respect and trust administration, between elderly wisdom and modern fiduciary expertise, between the modest grandmother they wanted to dismiss during medical vulnerability and the administrative authority, whose estate coordination could either continue supporting their comfortable lifestyle or classify their inheritance assets as under beneficiary review, requiring comprehensive family valuation and character assessment. The Whitmore Institute for Private Wealth Excellence that had established my reputation throughout the New England financial community operated from the modest home office that David and Jennifer considered evidence of my limited professional achievement and outdated lifestyle choices. The federal consultation contracts that generated over $480,000 annually in administrative service fees were coordinated from the same workspace where I had been developing trust innovation and training fiduciary professionals for nearly 4 decades. The retirement that my family assumed represented the end of my professional influence actually marked the beginning of my most lucrative and influential period as an independent consultant whose expertise was sought by federal estate agencies, international private banks, and fiduciary firms throughout North America who needed guidance on distribution, integration, compliance, implementation, and system coordination that served thousands of families and billions of dollars in annual trust transactions. But what made the timing of David's "find another way home" comment particularly unfortunate was that my transition from Whitmore and Associates employee to independent consultant had actually increased my authority and access to trust databases throughout the northeastern United States. The consultation contracts that I had negotiated included continued access to all distribution systems that I had managed during my career, emergency response authority for system failures and compliance incidents, and strategic planning responsibilities for next-generation fiduciary technology that would determine how inheritance assets were managed and coordinated for the next 20 years. The modest Cambridge home, where I had been quietly building my trust empire and maintaining my federal consultation business, would soon become the command center for the most comprehensive demonstration of fiduciary authority that New England had ever witnessed. The distribution access that Dave and Jennifer had never understood or appreciated would become the foundation for consequences that they could never have imagined or prepared for when they decided that their elderly relative should find another way home during their carefully prioritized business development and invest presentation activities. The family members, who had assumed my limited understanding of modern trust management, would soon discover that their comfortable financial services depended entirely on systems that I had designed, databases that I controlled, and coordination protocols that I could modify or implement based on my professional judgment about which beneficiaries deserved continued and administrative protection and inheritance coordination services. The private wealth infrastructure that had operated invisibly throughout their comfortable lives would become devastatingly visible when their trust assets became classified as under beneficiary review, requiring comprehensive character evaluation and family loyalty assessment. Sometimes the most dangerous assumption you can make about elderly relatives is that their modest lifestyle reflects limited capability, rather than understanding that true fiduciary expertise and administrative authority operate most effectively when they remain invisible until the moment when visibility becomes necessary to teach ungrateful family members about the critical importance of respecting the elderly wisdom and administrative knowledge that created the foundation for every financial advantage and opportunity they considered evidence of individual achievement and personal success in competitive markets that required both professional competence and family loyalty to navigate successfully. The Trust Administration Authority that had made their comfortable lifestyle possible remained available for family members who demonstrated appropriate respect and appreciation for elderly relatives. Traditional values that distinguished responsible family relationships from business calculations and strategic optimization that ignored the human connections and generational loyalty that created the foundation for lasting success and meaningful achievement in both professional advancement and family legacy development. The administrative coordination that had protected their financial services and inheritance access could either continue supporting family members who understood the value of elderly wisdom or be redirected to serve families who appreciated both estate assistance and the generational respect that created opportunities for authentic community contribution and meaningful family relationships. The private wealth empire that had been operating invisibly throughout David and Jennifer's comfortable assumptions about elderly capabilities would become the most visible lesson of their lives about the true meaning of trust administration and the critical importance of treating elderly relatives with the respect and appreciation that their lifetime of fiduciary service, administrative expertise deserved, rather than dismissing them as outdated inconveniences during business development and investor presentation activities that prioritized professional advancement over authentic family relationships and traditional values. The weeks following our devastating September 14th hospital incident revealed the systematic nature of David and Jennifer's approach to family management and their increasingly sophisticated strategies for maintaining the upscale business image that they believed would generate substantial real estate profits and establish Whitmore Development Group as Boston's premier luxury residential developer. What I discovered through careful observation and strategic monitoring of their business communications and investor relationship activities was that their dismissal of my potential contributions to their sophisticated business presentation wasn't just casual disrespect. It was the result of deliberate planning, professional consultation, and calculated decision-making that treated elderly family members like brand management problems, requiring strategic solutions and systematic exclusion from their carefully curated professional image. The luxury business consulting firm that David had hired to develop his real estate development strategy, Meridian Business Solutions, specialized in helping affluent New England developers build exclusive commercial enterprises around their sophisticated market expertise, expensive property investments, and upscale client relationships. The consultation fees that David and Jennifer were paying, $18,500 per month for comprehensive business development and strategic planning, reflected their serious commitment to transforming David's development experience into a profitable real estate empire that could generate seven-figure annual income through premium investor partnerships and exclusive development contracts. Victoria Sterling Matthews, the senior business consultant who was directing David's development strategy, had built her reputation by helping successful real estate professionals throughout Massachusetts and Connecticut transition to independent development enterprises that served wealthy families seeking sophisticated residential properties and exclusive investment opportunities. Her client roster included several New England developers who earned between $2 million and $8 million annually through luxury investor partnerships, exclusive property development, and high-end residential opportunities that required sophisticated presentation management and consistent upscale positioning. During my careful investigation of their business development strategy, I discovered that Victoria had provided David and Jennifer with detailed guidelines about family presentation and demographic consistency that explicitly addressed the challenge of managing elderly relatives whose appearance or lifestyle choices might compromise their upscale development positioning. The 89-page business strategy document that I eventually obtained through strategic coordination with their home security system included specific recommendations about intergenerational image management and family demographic optimization that treated elderly relatives like potential business complications requiring systematic exclusion or strategic presentation.
The business development protocols that Victoria had established for David's development enterprise included comprehensive investor relationship planning, professional presentation coordination, luxury property development strategies, and family relationship management that prioritized business consistency over authentic family connections and traditional generational respect. The monthly strategy sessions that David and Jennifer attended at Meridian's downtown Boston offices included detailed analysis of their client acquisition metrics, development contract negotiation support, and systematic evaluation of every aspect of their business presentation through the lens of luxury development effectiveness and demographic appeal. But what made their business management approach particularly calculated was Victoria's emphasis on lifestyle authentication and demographic verification that required David's development presentation to demonstrate multi-generational sophistication and affluent family relationships that reflected the kind of economic stability and cultural refinement that wealthy investors demanded from their premium development service providers. This meant that elderly family members needed to either contribute to their upscale image or be systematically excluded from their business presentation to maintain consistency and investor eligibility. The specific recommendations that Victoria had provided regarding my potential involvement in David's development business revealed the systematic nature of their elderly exclusion strategy and their professional approach to family relationship management that prioritized marketing objectives over traditional family values and generational respect. According to the business strategy documentation that I reviewed, elderly family members who didn't demonstrate lifestyle consistency or demographic alignment with luxury development positioning could actually damage investor relationship opportunities and reduce the investment capital wealthy families were willing to commit to sophisticated development projects. Multi-generational content requires careful curation to ensure that all family members contribute positively to business perception and upscale positioning. Victoria had written in her strategic assessment of David's family presentation option, elderly relatives who demonstrate modest lifestyle choices or traditional values may create business confusion that reduces effectiveness of luxury development partnerships and limits opportunities for premium investor relationships with high net worth consumer demographics. The business consultation that had led to David's decision that I should find another way home from the hospital included detailed analysis of other New England development professionals and systematic evaluation of how family presentation affected their investor acquisition success and revenue generation rates. Victoria had provided specific examples of developers who had lost luxury investors because elderly family members appeared in their business presentation without proper lifestyle preparation or demographic optimization that maintained consistent upscale positioning and sophisticated image management. David's development business schedule, which required hosting investor presentation meetings twice per month with professional coordination and strategic client cultivation, had been designed around their Beacon Hill townhouse and sophisticated business activities that demonstrated their real estate expertise and affluent lifestyle positioning. The monthly business themes that Victoria had developed included Boston luxury development experience, exclusive urban living opportunities, sophisticated investment portfolio event, premium property development that required consistent presentation of affluence and cultural refinement that distinguished their development services from middle-class property management and basic real estate operation. The professional presentation sessions that David conducted twice per month included comprehensive property analysis and development coordination that ensured every investor interaction contributed to their luxury development positioning and business effectiveness. The development presentations that he hosted cost $7,200 per event and included specialized market analysis, professional property evaluation, post-event investor relationship management that created the kind of sophisticated business experience that wealthy families required for premium development service eligibility and exclusive investment opportunities. But perhaps the most revealing aspect of their business development strategy was the systematic approach to family relationship optimization that Victoria had recommended for managing elderly relatives and family members whose appearance or lifestyle choices might compromise their upscale positioning. The strategy document included specific protocols for generational presentation management that treated family relationships like business assets, requiring strategic evaluation and systematic coordination rather than authentic connections, deserving respect and inclusion, regardless of economic status or lifestyle difference. The weekly planning meetings that David and Jennifer conducted to coordinate their business development activities included detailed discussion of upcoming investor presentations, development contract negotiation, family relationship management that required balancing their business objectives with traditional family obligations and elderly care responsibility. The systematic nature of their planning revealed how completely they had embraced the kind of lifestyle marketing that prioritized image curation over authentic relationships and financial opportunity over family loyalty and generational respect. During one planning session that I observed through their home security system, David reviewed his investor acquisition analytics and discovered that his most successful development presentations featured sophisticated market analysis, expensive property portfolio, and exclusive service presentation that demonstrated their affluent lifestyle and professional expertise. The events that received the highest investor satisfaction rates and attracted the most premium investment inquiries were those that showed consistent luxury positioning without any element that suggested modest backgrounds or traditional family values that might compromise their positioning as sophisticated development professionals. Our most successful investor presentations show us providing the kind of sophisticated development opportunities that our target demographic wants to experience in their property portfolios, David explained while reviewing his business performance metrics with Jennifer. The families that commit the highest investment capital are looking for professionals who can demonstrate authentic luxury development without any elements that create questions about our professional background or family sophistication. Every element of our presentation needs to reinforce our positioning as genuine development professionals rather than people who are pretending to have more expertise than they actually possess. Jennifer's support for David's business strategy reflected her own professional ambitions and networking objectives that required maintaining a sophisticated image consistent with her advertising executive position and marketing industry leadership. The upscale lifestyle that they had achieved through her substantial income and performance bonuses needed to be presented strategically to support both David's development advancement and her own professional growth opportunities within Boston's competitive executive environment and Massachusetts's marketing industry. David's business development is actually supporting my career advancement at the advertising agency because it demonstrates the kind of lifestyle success and family sophistication that executive leadership expects from senior management. Jennifer explained during their planning discussion. The sophisticated business presentation, the exclusive investor relationship, the professional development coordination. It all contributes to my professional credibility and networking effectiveness with other advertising executives and marketing industry leaders who evaluate leadership potential based on lifestyle achievement and family presentation. David's development business with Jennifer's professional advancement strategy revealed the systematic nature of their approach to family relationship management and their calculation that elderly relatives needed to either contribute to their sophisticated image or be excluded from their business presentation to maintain consistency and effectiveness. The business development that Victoria had recommended required treating every aspect of their lives as professional assets that needed strategic evaluation and systematic optimization rather than authentic experiences, deserving family sharing and generational inclusion. But what made their elderly exclusion strategy particularly devastating was their assumption that I wouldn't understand or object to their systematic dismissal of my potential contributions to their development business presentation. The condescending approach that they had developed for managing our family relationship reflected their belief that elderly relatives should be grateful for any inclusion in family activities rather than expecting respect for their life experiences and professional achievements that might actually enhance rather than compromise their upscale business positioning. The monthly family coordination meetings that Jennifer had established to manage my involvement in their development business included specific protocols for limiting my potential impact on their professional advancement while maintaining the appearance of family consideration and elderly care. The systematic approach that they had developed for managing my presence during business activities reflected their professional consultation with Victoria about intergenerational business management and elderly relationship optimization that treated family connections like marketing challenges. Requiring strategic solutions, we need to maintain family relationships while protecting our business development and investor acquisition opportunities, Jennifer had explained during one coordination session. Margaret's traditional values and modest lifestyle represent complications for our upscale positioning, but we can manage her involvement through strategic inclusion that limits her impact on our development, business advancement, and investor relationship build. David's approach to family relationship management reflected his real estate background and strategic thinking about business development that required systematic evaluation of every element that might affect their development success. The careful planning that he applied to managing my potential involvement in their business activities revealed his professional understanding of how family presentation affected investor acquisition opportunities and revenue generation rates that determined their development. Business profitability. Every family member who appears in our business presentation needs to contribute positively to our upscale development positioning and investor appeal. David had explained while reviewing business strategy documentation with Jennifer. Margaret's modest appearance and traditional conversation style create business confusion that could affect our investor negotiations and reduce the capital that wealthy families are willing to commit to sophisticated development projects and exclusive property opportunities. The strategic coordination that David and Jennifer had developed for managing our family relationship included specific protocols for limiting my knowledge of their business development activities, preventing my involvement in their development presentation, and maintaining the appearance of family consideration while systematically excluding me from the professional activities that generated their development income and business success. But perhaps the most revealing aspect of their family relationship management was their assumption that I would never discover the extent of their systematic dismissal or understand the professional consultation that had led to their decision that I should find another way home during their business development activity. The condescending confidence that they displayed during family interactions reflected their belief that elderly relatives couldn't comprehend modern business strategies or professional development that required sophisticated planning and strategic family relationship management. The luxury development consulting that David and Jennifer were receiving from Meridian Business Solutions included comprehensive competitive analysis of other New England development professionals and systematic evaluation of which family presentation strategies generated the most successful investor relationships and revenue generation. The monthly reports that Victoria provided included detailed recommendations about business optimization, investor relationship negotiation, and family relationship management that treated elderly relatives like potential marketing complications requiring strategic solutions. The analysis that Victoria had conducted of David's potential for luxury development success included systematic evaluation of their property portfolio, market expertise, presentation ability, and family demographics that identified my presence as a potential obstacle to achieving the kind of premium investor relationships that generated substantial development income. The recommendation that elderly family members should be excluded from their business presentation unless they contributed to their upscale positioning reflected professional marketing assessment rather than personal family preferences or individual character judgment. But what made their business strategy particularly short-sighted was their failure to investigate or understand my actual professional background and the potential value that my private wealth expertise could provide to their upscale development, business, and investor relationship advancement. Assumption that elderly relatives represented only traditional values and modest lifestyle choices revealed their complete ignorance of my career achievements and professional authority that could have enhanced, rather than compromised, their sophisticated positioning and investor acquisition opportunities. The systematic nature of their elderly exclusion strategy reflected hours of professional consultation, strategic planning, careful coordination, and had convinced them that family respect was less important than business consistency, and that traditional generational values should be subordinated to development, business success, and professional advancement, profitability. The calculated approach that they had developed for managing my involvement in their business presentation revealed character priorities and family values that would determine their access to continued professional success and lifestyle maintenance. The September 14th hospital incident, where Dave had told me to find another way home, represented the culmination of months of strategic planning and professional consultation that had convinced them that elderly relatives were obstacles to overcome rather than family resources deserving respect and inclusion. The systematic dismissal that I had experienced wasn't casual disrespect. It was the result of deliberate business strategy development and calculated family relationship management that prioritized marketing objectives over traditional values and generational respect. During their October strategy session with Victoria, David and Jennifer celebrated the success of their systematic elderly exclusion and discussed the implementation of permanent family relationship restructuring that would eliminate my potential impact on their business development while maintaining their public image as successful professionals who balanced career achievement with family responsibility and community engagement. The systematic approach that they developed included specific protocols for managing community perception, professional networking activities, and development business coordination that presented their lifestyle as evidence of sophisticated family values while permanently excluding elderly relatives who didn't contribute to their upscale positioning. Our business development requires demonstrating multi-generational success and sophisticated family achievement that appeals to luxury investors and high-value consumer demographics, David explained while reviewing their investor pipeline and revenue projection. Margaret's modest lifestyle and traditional values create business confusion that reduces our investor eligibility and limits our access to premium development opportunities that generate substantial income and establish our reputation as Boston's premier luxury residential developer. The business calculations that drove their family relationship management included detailed financial analysis of investor opportunities and revenue potential that required maintaining strict demographic consistency and lifestyle authentication. The systematic approach that they had developed treated family relationships like professional assets that needed strategic evaluation and ongoing optimization, rather than authentic connections deserving respect and inclusion, regardless of economic status or lifestyle compatibility with their business positioning. Victoria's strategic included specific recommendations for implementing elderly relationship termination protocols that would permanently separate my involvement from their development business while maintaining public appearances of family consideration and elderly care that protected their community reputation, professional networking effectiveness. The systematic planning that they developed included detailed coordination for managing community perception, investor relationship development, and business presentation that eliminated elderly complications while maintaining sophisticated family positioning. The key to successful elderly relationship management is implementing permanent boundaries that prevent family complications while maintaining public perception of family values and generational respect. Victoria had explained during their strategy session, David and Jennifer need to create complete separation from Margaret's influence while avoiding any public appearance of elderly abandonment that could affect their community reputation and investor relationship. The strategic approach that they developed for managing our family relationship included specific protocols for limiting my access to their home during business activities, preventing my involvement in community events that might affect their professional development, and implementing communication management that reduced my knowledge of their business strategies and investor negotiation. The systematic nature of their elderly exclusion revealed months of professional consultation and strategic planning that treated family loyalty and generational respect as obstacles to overcome rather than values to maintain and honor. But what David and Jennifer didn't understand was that their systematic approach to family relationship management and their professional consultation about elderly exclusion had created
comprehensive documentation of their character priorities and business values that would determine their access to continued trust administration, protection, and inheritance coordination support, the strategic planning that they had invested in eliminating my influence on their business development had generated detailed evidence of their family loyalty and generational respect that would justify implementing consequences that affected every aspect of their lifestyle and development, business success. The confidence that they displayed about their successful elderly relationship termination reflected their assumption that financial services and inheritance protection were automatic benefits that continued regardless of how elderly relatives treated during business development and professional advancement. The systematic dismissal that they had implemented through months of professional consultation would become the documented foundation for terminating the trust coordination advantages and estate management benefits that had us supporting their upscale lifestyle and business opportunities throughout their comfortable assumption that family loyalty was disposable when it conflicted with business objectives and investor positioning requirements. The November celebration of their successful family relationship restructuring represented the culmination of their systematic elderly exclusion strategy and their complete commitment to prioritizing business development over traditional family values and generational respect. The satisfaction that they expressed about eliminating my involvement in their development presentation would become the final evidence of character priorities that justified implementing trust administration, consequences, and inheritance coordination modifications that would affect their financial security, lifestyle maintenance in ways they could never have imagined or prepared for during their strategic planning and professional consultation about elderly relationship management. The sophisticated business development strategy that had convinced them to treat elderly relatives like professional complications would soon become the most expensive development mistake of their lives when they discovered that the family member they had systematically excluded actually controlled the trust infrastructure that made their upscale lifestyle possible and possessed the fiduciary authority to continue supporting their comfortable financial positioning or classify their inheritance assets as under beneficiary review, requiring comprehensive family evaluation and character assessment. The systematic planning that they had celebrated as evidence of strategic thinking and professional business development would become the documented foundation for consequences that revealed the true cost of treating family loyalty as optional and elderly wisdom as irrelevant to lifestyle success and professional advancement. The permanent boundaries that they had established to protect business development from elderly complications would become the justification for permanent termination of inheritance protection and trust coordination as support that had been enabling their upscale lifestyle and development business success throughout their systematic assumption that
resources would continue regardless of how elderly relatives were treated during business optimization and investor relationship advancement strategies. Sometimes the most dangerous assumption you can make about family relationship management is that elderly relatives will continue providing invisible support and financial protection regardless of how they're treated during business development and lifestyle optimization that David and Jennifer had developed through professional consultation would become the documented evidence of character priorities that justified redirecting trust assets and inheritance coordination to serve families who understood that true sophistication comes from respecting elderly wisdom and maintaining traditional values that distinguish meaningful success from superficial business presentation and systematic family disrespect that prioritizes image management over authentic relationships and community contribution that honors generational expertise and family loyalty. November through January period following my hospital abandonment revealed the most disturbing aspect of David and Jennifer's approach to family relationships, their systematic transformation of every personal interaction into calculated business opportunities and their complete embrace professional consulting advice that treated elderly relatives
like disposable assets, whose value could be optimized or eliminated based on investment, return calculations, and market positioning requirements. The quarterly business review meetings that David and Jennifer conducted with Victoria
Sterling Matthews at Meridian Business Solutions had evolved beyond simple development strategy into comprehensive lifestyle optimization that evaluated every aspect of their personal lives through the lens of investor appeal and business advancement. The detailed analysis that Victoria provided during their December planning session included specific recommendations for family asset management and relationship portfolio optimization that treated our mother-son connection like an underperforming investment, requiring strategic restructuring or complete liquidation. The 127-page comprehensive business optimization report that Victoria delivered in December included sections titled Generational Liability Assessment, Elderly Relationship, and Family Demographic Enhancement Strategies that demonstrated the extent to which professional business consulting had convinced David and Jennifer that traditional family values represented obstacles to overcome rather than foundations to maintain and on. The systematic approach that they had developed for evaluating family relationships through business metrics revealed character priorities that distinguished authentic success from superficial wealth accumulation and image management. But what made their business mindset particularly calculated was the monthly family impact coordination meetings that David and Jennifer had established to systematically evaluate my potential effect on their development, business, and implement strategic measures to minimize any negative impact on their investor relationships and professional advancement. These meetings, which I discovered through careful monitoring of their calendar systems and home security recordings, included detailed analysis of upcoming business events, investor presentation schedules, and family obligation management that prioritized business networking over traditional family responsibilities and elderly care. The systematic approach that David and Jennifer employed for managing family relationships reflected months of professional training from Victoria about lifestyle brand management and demographic consistency. Optimization that required evaluating every personal interaction through the lens of business advancement and investor appeal. The transformation that had occurred in their thinking about family obligations revealed how completely they had embraced the strategic calculation that treated elderly relatives like marketing challenges, requiring professional solutions rather than family members deserving respect and consideration. During their December family coordination meeting, which I observed through their home security system, David and Jennifer reviewed their upcoming investor presentations and identified specific strategies for ensuring that my presence or involvement wouldn't compromise their carefully curated business image or create complications for their development partnerships and financial advance. The systematic nature of their planning revealed months of strategic thinking about elderly relationship management and business optimization that prioritized professional networking over family loyalty and generational respect. We need to maintain complete separation between our family obligations and our business development activities, Jennifer announced while reviewing their January investor presentation schedule and development contract negotiation. Margaret's traditional approach to family relationships creates complications for our upscale positioning, and we can't allow her involvement in our business activities to compromise the sophisticated image that investors expect from premium development professionals. The business language that Jennifer employed during family planning discussions revealed the extent to which professional consulting had transformed their understanding of family relationships and elderly obligations into strategic challenges requiring systematic solutions and ongoing optimization. The comfortable confidence that she displayed about implementing complete separation between family responsibilities and business advancement demonstrated their systematic approach to treating elderly relatives like inconveniences, requiring professional management rather than family members deserving respect and inclusion. David's contribution to their family coordination planning
reflected his real estate development background and strategic thinking about business advancement that required systematic evaluation of every potential complication or obstacle to their professional success. The careful analysis that he applied to managing my involvement in their lives revealed his complete transformation from traditional family values to business optimization thinking that prioritized investor relationships over elderly care and generational respect.
Every interaction we have with investors and development partners needs to reinforce our positioning as sophisticated professionals who understand luxury development and upscale client relationships. David explained while reviewing their business development metrics and investor acquisition analytics. Margaret's modest lifestyle and traditional conversation style create business confusion that could affect our development partnerships and reduce the investment capital that wealthy families are willing to commit to our projects. The systematic evaluation that David and Jennifer conducted of their family relationships included detailed analysis of which family interactions contributed to their business objectives and which represented potential obstacles requiring strategic management or elimination. The business optimization approach that they had learned from Victoria included specific protocols for relationship asset management that treated family connections like investment portfolios, requiring ongoing evaluation and strategic restructuring based on business performance and professional advancement requirements. But perhaps the most revealing aspect of their business mindset was their systematic approach to what Victoria had termed elderly relationship termination protocols, comprehensive strategies for permanently eliminating family obligations that interfered with business development, while maintaining public appearances of family consideration and elderly care that protected their community reputation and professional networking effectiveness. The detailed planning that they had developed for managing my exclusion from their business activities revealed months of strategic consultation and systematic preparation for eliminating family complications from their professional advancement. The January implementation of their elderly relationship termination protocols included specific strategies for limiting my access to information about their business activities, preventing my involvement in community events that might affect their professional development, and creating systematic barriers to family interaction that reduced my potential impact on their investor relationships and development business success. The professional language that they used to describe family relationship management revealed how completely they had embraced business optimization thinking that treated elderly relatives like problems requiring strategic solutions rather than family members deserving respect and consideration. The elderly relationship termination protocols that we've developed ensure that Margaret's traditional values and modest lifestyle won't compromise our business development or create complications for our investor relationships. Jennifer explained during their strategic planning session, "We've created systematic barriers that maintain the appearance of family consideration while protecting our professional advancement from elderly complications that could affect our development, business success." The confidence that Jennifer displayed about implementing systematic elder exclusion reflected months of professional consultation and strategic planning that had convinced her that family loyalty was less important than business advancement, and that traditional generational values should be subordinated to development, business success, and professional optimization. The systematic approach that she described revealed character priorities that distinguished authentic family relationships from strategic business calculations and image management optimization. David's analysis of their elderly relationship termination strategy included detailed financial projections showing how eliminating family complications could improve their business development effectiveness and increase their investor acquisition rate. The business metrics that he used to evaluate family relationship management revealed his complete transformation from traditional family values to strategic optimization thinking that prioritized financial advancement over elderly care and generational respect. Our financial projections show that implementing systematic elderly exclusion could increase our investor acquisition rates by 23% and improve our development partnership success by 31%, David announced while reviewing their business performance analytics and strategic development plan. The elimination of family complications from our business presentation creates opportunities for enhanced investor relationships and improved development contract negotiations that could generate additional annual revenue between The systematic nature of David's financial analysis revealed the extent to which professional business consulting had transformed his understanding of family relationships into strategic assets requiring ongoing optimization and systematic management. The comfortable confidence that he displayed about calculating the financial benefits of elderly exclusion demonstrated his complete embrace of business thinking that treated family loyalty like optional expenses, requiring cost-benefit analysis and strategic elimination when they interfered with professional advancement. But what made their business mindset particularly devastating was their systematic celebration of successful elderly relationship management and their professional satisfaction with implementing strategic family exclusion that prioritized business development over traditional values and generational respect. The monthly business review meetings that they conducted with Victoria included detailed analysis of their elderly exclusion success and strategic planning for maintaining systematic family separation that protected their business advancement from traditional obligations and elderly complications. The February business optimization report that Victoria provided included specific commendation for David and Jennifer's successful implementation of elderly relationship termination protocols and detailed recommendation for maintaining systematic family exclusion that supported their continued business development and professional advancement. The professional recognition that they received for strategic family management revealed the extent to which business consulting had transformed their understanding of elderly relationships into marketing challenges requiring ongoing strategic solutions. David and Jennifer have demonstrated exceptional commitment to business optimization and strategic family management that distinguishes successful development professionals from those who allow traditional obligations to compromise their business advancement. Victoria wrote in her quarterly assessment of their professional development and business effectiveness, their systematic implementation of elderly relationship termination protocols represents exactly the kind of strategic thinking that generates premium investor relationships and establishes market leadership in luxury development. The professional commendation that David and Jennifer received for systematic elderly exclusion reflected months of strategic consultation and business optimization training that had convinced them that family loyalty represented obstacles to overcome rather than values to maintain and honor. Systematic approach that Victoria recommended for managing family relationships revealed the kind of business thinking that prioritized financial advancement over traditional values and treated elderly relatives like complications requiring professional management rather than family member, deserving respect and consideration. The March celebration of their successful elderly relationship management included detailed analysis of their improved business performance and investor acquisition success that had resulted from implementing systematic family exclusion and strategic elderly relationship termination. The business metrics that they reviewed during their quarterly assessment with Victoria revealed significant improvements in their development, business effectiveness, and professional advancement that they attributed directly to eliminating family complications from their business presentation. Our investor acquisition rates have improved by 28% since implementing systematic elderly exclusion, and our development partnership success has increased by 34% as a result of eliminating family complications from our business presentation. David announced during their quarterly business review with Victoria, the strategic family management that we've implemented has created opportunities for enhanced professional advancement and improved development, business success that exceeds our original financial projection. The systematic satisfaction that David expressed about their elderly exclusion success revealed the complete transformation of his character priorities and family values that had occurred through months of professional business consulting and strategic optimization. The comfortable confidence that he displayed about calculating the business benefits of family relationship termination demonstrated his systematic embrace of thinking that treated elderly relatives like obstacles to overcome rather than family members deserving respect and loyalty. Jennifer's contribution to their elderly relationship management celebration included detailed analysis of how systematic family exclusion had enhanced her own professional advancement and career development within Boston's competitive advertising industry. The business optimization approach that she had learned from Victoria included specific strategies for leveraging David's development, business success to support her own career advancement and executive positioning within her advertising agency and marketing industry community. The systematic elderly exclusion that we've implemented has enhanced my professional credibility and networking effectiveness with other advertising executives and marketing industry leaders who evaluate career advancement based on lifestyle achievement and family sophistication. Jennifer explained during their business optimization review, the elimination of family complications from our professional presentation has created opportunities for enhanced career development and executive advancement that supports both David's development, business, and my own professional objective. The professional satisfaction that Jennifer expressed about strategic family management revealed the extent to which business consulting had transformed her understanding of elderly relationships into career advancement tools requiring ongoing optimization and systematic coordination. The systematic approach that she described for leveraging family exclusion to support professional development demonstrated character priorities that distinguished authentic family relationships from strategic business calculations and career advancement optimization. Or completely failed to understand was that their systematic celebration of elderly relationship termination and their professional satisfaction with strategic family exclusion had created comprehensive documentation of their character priorities and family values that would determine their continued access to inheritance distributions and trust coordination support. The detailed business reports and strategic planning documents that they had generated through months of professional consultation provided extensive evidence of their systematic approach to treating family loyalty as expenses and elderly relatives as obstacles requiring professional management. The confidence that they displayed about their successful elderly relationship management reflected their assumption that inheritance distributions and trust coordination were automatic benefits that continued regardless of how family members were treated during business development and professional advancement. The systematic approach that they had developed for eliminating family complications from their business presentation would become the documented foundation for implementing trust administration. Consequences that could transform their comfortable financial positioning into beneficiary review, requiring comprehensive character evaluation and family loyalty assessment. The quarterly business optimization reports that Victoria had provided throughout their elderly relationship termination implementation included detailed analysis of their strategic family management success and specific recommendation for maintaining systematic elderly exclusion that supported continued business development and professional advancement. That these same documents would become comprehensive evidence of character priorities that justified redirecting inheritance assets and trust coordination to serve families who understood that authentic success required maintaining respect for elderly relatives and traditional values that distinguished meaningful achievement from superficial business optimization and systematic family disrespect. The March investor presentation, where David and Jennifer celebrated their highest development, contract acquisition rates, and most successful business advancement metrics, would become the final documentation of their systematic approach to prioritize business optimization over family loyalty and elderly respect. The professional satisfaction that they expressed about eliminating family complications from their business presentation would provide the final evidence needed to justify implementing trust administration. Consequences that reveal the true relationship between character priorities and inheritance eligibility, between family loyalty
and financial privilege, and between the elderly relatives, whose expertise created inheritance opportunities, and the family members, whose conduct determined whether those opportunities continued or were redirected to serve more deserving recipients. The business consulting fees that David and Jennifer had invested in learning how to systematically exclude elderly relatives from their professional advancement would become the most expensive education of their lives when they discovered that the family member they had strategically eliminated actually controlled the trust infrastructure that made their biz development possible and possessed the fiduciary authority to either continue supporting their comfortable lifestyle or implement inheritance consequences that revealed the true cost of treating family loyalty as optional and elderly wisdom as irrelevant to professional success and biz advancement. The systematic elderly relationship termination protocols that they had celebrated as evidence of strategic business thinking would become the documented foundation for consequences that transformed their inheritance expectations into beneficiary review, requiring comprehensive character evaluation and family loyalty assessment. The professional optimization approach that they had learned from Victoria would become the justification for implementing trust administration modifications that affected every aspect of their upscale lifestyle and development, business success in ways they could never have imagined or prepared for during their strategic planning and business consultation about family relationship management and elderly exclusion optimization. Sometimes the most catastrophic business mistake you can make is assuming that family relationships are strategic assets that can be optimized or eliminated based on professional advancement, calculations, and business development requirements. The systematic approach that David and Jennifer have developed for treating elderly relatives like marketing complications would become the documented evidence that justified redirecting trust coordination and inheritance distribution to serve families who understood that true business success requires maintaining respect for the elderly wisdom, family loyalty that created the foundation for every professional opportunity and financial advantage. They considered evidence of individual achievement and strategic optimization in competitive markets that required both business competence and character integrity to navigate successfully. The morning of March 18, 2025, exactly 6 months after David told me to find another way home from Massachusetts General Hospital, I walked into my Cambridge home office at 5:23 a.m. and implemented the most comprehensive demonstration of fiduciary authority that New England had ever witnessed. The trust administration actions that I executed over the following 9 hours would transform my son's comfortable assumptions about inheritance entitlements and beneficiary privileges into the most expensive education about family respect and elderly wisdom that any Boston real estate developer had ever received. The systematic trust actions that I implemented began with accessing the New England Regional Private Wealth Network through my federal consultation protocols and reviewing the comprehensive file that I had been maintaining on David and Jennifer's character documentations, their September systematic elderly abandonment strategy. The evidence that I had compiled included every instance of their business development planning that prioritized professional advancement over family loyalty, every conversation about elderly relationship optimization, and every strategic decision to treat family respect as optional expenses, interfering with business objectives and investor positioning requirements. I initiated the first phase of beneficiary review by implementing inheritance eligibility assessment status for David Michael Whitmore's trust accounts, which immediately triggered automated evaluation protocols for character assessment throughout the New England Private Wealth Network. The administrative classification that I applied indicated potential beneficiary conduct violations requiring comprehensive family loyalty review and inheritance distribution reconsideration. which activated specialized assessment teams and generated notices to trust administrators about high-value inheritance modifications requiring immediate coordination and beneficiary evaluation procedure. The beneficiary assessment protocols that I activated included comprehensive coordination that affected David's credit verification systems, investment account status, business asset documentation, and estate planning records that determined legal inheritance, eligibility, and trust distribution obligations. The systematic nature of the classification modifications ensured that every platform and system connected to his inheritance expectations experienced coordinated changes that create immediate complications for his upscale lifestyle and long-term consequences for his business security and financial planning assumption. By 6:15 a.m., the first automated notifications had been generated by trust systems that detected beneficiary irregularities affecting David and Jennifer's inheritance status and estate planning verification. The alert protocols that I had implemented included private banking notification requirements that triggered immediate evaluation of trust distribution, eligibility, and inheritance coordination assessment that could affect their financial planning calculations, and continued asset access based on character evaluation standards and family loyalty verification. The private banking notifications began arriving at 7:30 a.m. when automated systems detected inheritance classification changes that affected distribution, eligibility, and trust coordination assessment calculations. The systematic classification modifications that I had implemented triggered comprehensive evaluation procedures that could result in inheritance suspension and beneficiary reassessment based on updated character status and family loyalty requirements that distinguished deserving inheritance recipients from those requiring additional evaluation and trust administration review. But the most immediate impact of my trust modifications became apparent when David attempted to access his quarterly inheritance distribution at 8:45 a.m. and discovered that his trust accounts had been classified as under beneficiary review pending character assessment by the Massachusetts State Administration Authority. The panic that followed his discovery revealed the extent to which his real estate development, business, and upscale lifestyle depended on inheritance distributions and trust coordination that he had never understood or appreciated during his systematic exclusion and family relationship optimization. The first panicked phone call that I received came from David at 9:03 a.m. with obvious desperation and confusion about the administrative complications that were affecting his inheritance, access, and business financial planning. "Mom, something incredible is happening with my trust accounts and development business financing," he announced with the kind of professional emergency language that revealed his immediate understanding of catastrophic financial implications. "My inheritance distributions have been suspended, and private banks are asking for documentation about beneficiary conduct evaluation and family loyalty verification." The conversation that followed revealed David's sudden recognition that the elderly mother he had systematically excluded from his upscale lifestyle might possess administrative capabilities and professional authority that could affect his inheritance, eligibility, and financial security in ways he had never imagined or prepared for during months of strategic family relationship management and business development consultation. Jennifer's call came 42 minutes later from their Beacon Hill townhouse, where she had been attempting to coordinate their children's private school tuition payments and discovered that their primary financial accounts and credit facilities had been affected by inheritance distribution.
"Margaret, we're having serious trust administration problems that I don't understand," she announced with obvious professional desperation that contrasted sharply with her previous confidence about systematic, elderly exclusion and business optimization strategies. "Our financial planning and investment accounts aren't processing correctly. and private banks are requesting immediate documentation about inheritance eligibility and character assessment that require family loyalty verification. Jennifer continued with growing panic about the implications for their lifestyle maintenance and financial security planning. This is affecting our business operations and potentially compromising our development contracts with wealthy investors who expect verified inheritance, backing, and accurate financial position. The systematic consequences that continued throughout the day included private banking evaluation procedures that questioned their inheritance documentation and character assessment verification, estate planning, investigations that could affect their business standing and financial status, and regional coordination inquiries about beneficiary classification, changes that required extensive documentation and administrative review to resolve through proper channels and verification. But perhaps the most devastating immediate impact was the effect on David's development business and investor relationship, negotiation, that required verified inheritance, backing, and accurate financial positioning to maintain luxury service eligibility and premium development opportunity. The investor presentations that he had scheduled, based on his guaranteed inheritance distributions, became impossible to complete when wealthy families discovered that his primary financial backing no longer qualified for verified inheritance status or exclusive development financing. The luxury investor relationships that David had been developing with Meridian Capital Group and other premium development firms required verified inheritance, backing, and accurate financial positioning that distinguished authentic, upscale development from temporary business arrangements and questioned financial management that didn't reflect genuine business stability and professional credibility. The inheritance classification complications that I had implemented triggered immediate investor review and potential contract suspension that could affect his annual income projections and development business advancement. By the end of the first week, the comprehensive nature of their inheritance classification complications had generated legal consultation fees exceeding $34,000, business documentation requirements that consumed over 80 hours of David's professional time, and financial standing complications that required extensive verification procedures and potential lifestyle restructuring based on inheritance status uncertainty and trust administration challenges. The second week brought expanded consequences as automated systems continued detecting classification irregularities that affected their credit reporting, business account verification, and professional background checks that advertising agencies required for executive position maintenance. The systematic nature of the classification modifications created cascading effects throughout their financial and professional lives that required extensive time investment and legal consultation to understand and address through proper administrative channel. Jennifer's position at her prestigious Boston advertising agency came under review when executive background verification systems detected inheritance classification irregularities and financial standing complications that raised questions about her judgment and administrative reliability. The professional consequences that followed included delayed performance reviews, reduced project responsibility, and executive committee discussions about leadership qualification standards that required clean financial records and verified family stability for continued employment eligibility and advancement opportunities. David's development business faced immediate investor cancellations and suspensions when wealthy families discovered that his primary financial backing and inheritance distributions no longer met the verified asset requirements for exclusive development partnerships and sophisticated investment opportunity. The systematic loss of revenue streams and investor relationships created financial pressure that affected their ability to maintain their upscale lifestyle and continue paying for professional business consultation and luxury lifestyle maintenance services. During the third week of inheritance classification consequences, something remarkable began to happen that would transform this story from simple trust administration into a profound lesson about family values and character accountability. The private banking professionals,
who had been coordinating the evaluation of David and Jennifer's inheritance eligibility, including senior trust administrators at Northern Trust, State and Fidelity Trust, reached out to me with questions about the background and circumstances that had led to this unprecedented beneficiary review implementation. When I explained the situation to Robert Chen, Senior Trust Administrator at Northern Trust Boston, his response revealed the depth of private banking understanding about family relationships and elderly respect that distinguished authentic wealth management from simple asset distribution.
Margaret, we've worked with thousands of families over the years, and we've learned that the most successful inheritance relationships come from situations where family values and character accountability intersect, he said during our coordination call. What your son and daughter-in-law have experienced isn't just about trust administration, it's about understanding that true inheritance privilege requires respecting the elderly wisdom and family relationships that create the foundation for meaningful wealth stewardship. Robert continued with the professional insight that came from decades of estate planning and family intervention. We'd like to propose something that serves both family healing and wealth stewardship, rather than simple inheritance suspension. The alternative that Robert and his colleagues proposed would become the most innovative trust administration intervention in Massachusetts history and foundation for David and Jennifer's transformation from systematic elderly dismissal to authentic family engagement and character development. Instead of simply suspending their inheritance distributions permanently, the private banking consortium wanted to create a family legacy stewardship program that would require David and Jennifer's direct participation in elder care services while learning about wealth responsibility and creating opportunities for intergenerational collaboration and family healing. The Family Legacy Stewardship Program that we developed would operate for 12 months, providing volunteer coordination and elder care support for low-income seniors, while requiring David and Jennifer to work alongside experienced elder care professionals and community members who understood the value of traditional wisdom and generational respect. The program would serve over 150 elderly community members during its operation, while creating opportunities for David and Jennifer to learn about family responsibility and elderly appreciation that distinguished meaningful wealth stewardship from superficial privilege. But perhaps the most significant aspect of the program was the requirement that David and Jennifer work directly under my supervision as program coordinator, learning about trust administration and estate planning that would provide them with genuine understanding of the inheritance infrastructure that had been supporting their comfortable lifestyle throughout their systematic assumption that family wealth was automatic rather than earned through character development and elderly respect. The transformation that began during the first week of the Family Legacy Stewardship Program exceeded even my own expectations for what community service could accomplish when combined with character accountability and elderly recognition. David's initial reluctance to participate in hands-on elder care work gradually evolved into genuine appreciation for the seniors we served and understanding of the administrative expertise required for effective trust coordination and wealth management. Jennifer's marketing skills, when directed toward community service rather than business advancement, revealed her capacity for meaningful contribution and authentic professional satisfaction that distinguished community benefit from superficial career success and strategic networking cultivation. Her work developing outreach materials for elderly community members provided her with purpose and professional fulfillment that exceeded anything she had experienced during her advertising career development and executive advancement activities. The elderly community members who worked alongside David and Jennifer in the Family Legacy Stewardship Program included retired trust administrators, former estate attorneys, experienced financial planners, and community advocates whose lifetime of service and professional expertise provided daily examples of the elderly wisdom and community contribution that my son and daughter-in-law had dismissed during their systematic family relationship restructuring and business optimization strategies. Mrs. C. Eleanor Martinez, an 81-year-old retired estate attorney who had spent 45 years coordinating inheritance planning throughout Massachusetts, became particularly influential in helping David understand the connection between family respect and wealth responsibility. Young man, she told David during their 4th week of working together, "I've seen thousands of families over the years, and I can tell you that the most successful inheritance relationships always start with families that understand how to honor their elderly members and learn from generational wisdom." The trust administration training that David received alongside 77-year-old retired bank president William Chen, who had operated Boston's most respected private banking services for 32 years before retirement, provided daily demonstrations of how professional expertise and elderly experience could combine to create wealth stewardship that exceeded anything achievable through individual achievement or business optimization. Chen's traditional banking principles and community engagement values challenged David's assumptions about financial success and professional satisfaction in ways that investor relationships had never provided. The estate planning responsibilities that Jennifer assumed under my supervision in coordinating community outreach, volunteer management, and service distribution provided her with genuine understanding of trust expertise and the administrative complexity required for effective inheritance coordination. Her work developing educational materials for the Family Legacy Stewardship Program, when focused on community benefit rather than business positioning, revealed her capacity for meaningful professional contribution and authentic community engagement. The 12 months of Family Legacy Stewardship operation created measurable community impact that included coordinating care services for over 150 elderly community members, providing estate planning education to training 43 community members in elder care and financial stewardship, and creating ongoing support networks that continued serving seniors long after the formal program concluded. The success of the program attracted attention from trust administrators throughout New England and established a model for family-based wealth stewardship that honored both community needs and intergenerational collaboration. But perhaps the most significant transformation was the change in David and Jennifer's understanding of family relationships and the value of elderly wisdom in creating meaningful wealth stewardship. Their systematic elderly exclusion and business optimization strategies were replaced by genuine appreciation for my trust expertise and recognition of how family respect and community service could create professional satisfaction and personal fulfillment that exceeded anything achievable through exclusive development partnerships and wealthy investor cultivation. The development business that David rebuilt after completing his community service focused on providing affordable housing coordination for elderly community members and low-income families, rather than exclusive development for wealthy investors. His work developing senior living community accessible housing projects and community-centered residential opportunities generated steady income, while providing genuine professional satisfaction and community contribution that distinguished meaningful work from superficial business success and systematic family dismissal. Jennifer's career development evolved to include nonprofit marketing and community engagement initiatives that leveraged her advertising expertise for charitable benefit and elder care support. Her work developing marketing strategies for elderly community organizations and senior care facilities provided professional advancement opportunities, while creating authentic community impact and family pride that exceeded anything she had achieved through systematic elderly exclusion and lifestyle optimization. The modest Somerville apartment where David and Jennifer moved during their community service period, costing $3,200 monthly and providing comfortable living without upscale presentation requirement, became the foundation for authentic family relationships and community engagement, rather than systematic business development and elderly relationship management. The simple furnishings and traditional family activities that characterized their transformed lifestyle reflected genuine values and priorities that distinguished lasting happiness from temporary luxury positioning and systematic family disrespect. The education funds that I reestablished for their children included comprehensive training about trust administration, family responsibility, and elderly respect that would ensure the next generation understood the importance of traditional values and generational wisdom in professional development and community contribution. The scholarship program required students to demonstrate both academic achievement and family loyalty through consistent elderly advocacy and community service that distinguished responsible leadership from systematic dismissal of generational expertise. The inheritance distributions that resumed after David and Jennifer's successful completion of the Family Legacy Stewardship Program were restructured to include ongoing community service requirements and annual character assessments that ensured continued family respect and elderly appreciation. The modified trust structure required quarterly volunteer coordination with elderly community members and annual family loyalty verification that distinguished deserving inheritance recipients from those who might revert to systematic elderly dismissal and business optimization. 5 years later, David and Jennifer's transformation had become a model for family-based wealth stewardship throughout New England, with their story featured in trust administration publications and estate planning journals as an example of how inheritance intervention could create family healing and authentic community engagement. Their work coordinating the annual Massachusetts Family Wealth Responsibility Network, which operated in 18 communities throughout the state, provided ongoing opportunities for meaningful contribution, while maintaining the family relationships and elderly respect that they had learned through their wealth stewardship experience. The Cambridge home where they now live, purchased with assistance from a family trust housing program and costing, provided comfortable family living while supporting their community service work and maintaining proximity to the elderly relatives and community members whose wisdom and support had created the foundation for their transformation. The modest but elegant home that served as both family residence and occasional community meeting venue reflected their understanding that true satisfaction came from authentic relationships and community contribution, rather than exclusive lifestyle presentation and systematic elderly dismissal. David's current position as Community Development Director at a Massachusetts housing nonprofit, earning $135,000 annually while coordinating affordable housing and elder care facility development throughout the region, provided meaningful professional work that honored both his development expertise and his commitment to community service and family value. His work developing affordable senior communities and accessible housing projects throughout Massachusetts created genuine impact, while maintaining the family relationships and elderly respect that distinguished authentic success from superficial professional advancement. Jennifer's role as elder care marketing coordinator for the Massachusetts Council on Aging, earning $98,000 annually while managing outreach and education programs for senior community organizations throughout the state, provided professional satisfaction and community contribution that exceeded anything she had achieved through exclusive advertising and wealthy client cultivation. Her work developing communication strategies for elderly community centers and senior care facilities created lasting impact, while honoring the elderly wisdom and traditional values that distinguished meaningful marketing work from superficial business success. As I write this final chapter from my beautiful Lexington home, purchased with proceeds from my federal consultation work and serving as both family residence and trust coordination center, I'm surrounded by family photographs that document our journey toward authentic relationships and mutual respect, professional commendations that honor my career achievements, and community recognition that celebrates the Family Legacy Stewardship Program's ongoing impact throughout New England. The son who told me to find another way home from the hospital discovered that respect for elderly relatives isn't optional accommodation, it's the foundation for inheritance eligibility and trust coordination that determines whether families build meaningful legacies or destroy opportunity. Through systematic dismissal of generational wisdom and traditional values that created every financial advantage they considered evidence of individual achievement and personal success. The modest hospital room where I had been abandoned during medical vulnerability became the foundation for a wealth stewardship program that served hundreds of elderly community members while teaching my son and daughter-in-law about the critical importance of elderly respect and family loyalty. The sophisticated business development strategy that had been used to exclude an elderly family member was transformed into community service that demonstrated how trust administration and family healing could create opportunities for authentic contribution and meaningful professional satisfaction. But perhaps the most important legacy of this experience has been the broader recognition throughout the New England private wealth community that elderly expertise and traditional family values provide the foundation for sustainable wealth stewardship and meaningful inheritance relations. The hundreds of families who have participated in family legacy stewardship programs understand that respecting elderly relatives and maintaining family loyalty creates opportunities for authentic community engagement and lasting professional satisfaction. My federal consultation work continues expanding throughout North America with trust administrators and 12 countries implementing our family-based wealth stewardship models that honor both inheritance responsibility and intergenerational respect. The global recognition of our approach to elderly inclusion and family-centered trust administration has created opportunities for meaningful contribution to estate planning worldwide. The Whitmore Institute for Private Wealth Excellence has established the David and Jennifer Whitmore Fellowship for Family-Based Wealth Stewardship, providing annual scholarships for trust professionals who demonstrate both administrative competence and commitment to elderly respect and family engagement in their fiduciary work. The fellowship program ensures that future wealth stewardship leaders understand the importance of intergenerational collaboration and family values in creating sustainable trust administration and authentic community. Remember, inheritance distributions and trust coordination aren't guaranteed family privileges. They're earned recognition of demonstrated character and elderly respect that creates foundation for financial credibility and authentic wealth stewardship. The inheritance accounts that disappeared from private access and became community service requirements taught David and Jennifer about the true meaning of trust administration and the critical importance of honoring the elderly wisdom that distinguished lasting wealth responsibility from superficial lifestyle presentation and systematic family dismissal. The private wealth empire that had operated invisibly throughout David and Jennifer's comfortable assumptions became the visible foundation for their transformation into authentic wealth stewards who understood that true financial success comes from serving others, while the elderly relatives whose wisdom and expertise created opportunities for meaningful contribution, rather than exclusive development and systematic generational dismissal that prioritized image management over authentic relationships and community values. Sometimes the most valuable lesson you can teach ungrateful family members is that inheritance privilege isn't automatic entitlement, it's earned recognition that continues only when families demonstrate appropriate respect for elderly wisdom and traditional values that create the foundation for authentic wealth stewardship and meaning. Trust administration, the trust coordination that had protected their comfortable lifestyle became the foundation for their transformation into community servants who understood that true success comes from serving others while honoring the elderly relatives whose lifetime of expertise and service created every opportunity for authentic contribution and family legacy development. The inheritance that served systematic elderly dismissal became the heart of a community program that coordinated care for hundreds, while teaching the most important lesson of all: respect for elderly relatives isn't just family courtesy, it's the foundation for trust eligibility and authentic wealth stewardship that distinguishes meaningful contribution from superficial lifestyle presentation and systematic dismissal of the generational wisdom that creates opportunities for lasting impact and authentic professional satisfaction in service to others. Up next, you've got two more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hit the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any upload from us.